the Big LG Doc Gallows, and you're watching the Wrestling Junkies. Boom.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Wrestling Junkies Podcast. I'm Mr. Cincinnati. As always, I'm joined by that handsome devil, the podcast dad. Choops, how we doing, buddy?
Yes, after our nice 15-minute break away from each other, we're back. Hello. Yeah. Please join us again. Pull up a seat at that table. If you weren't with us on Body Slam, we're going to run through the socials really quickly because we have a fun guest coming on. So real quick, follow us on X, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or TikTok, Twitter, Buzzer. I'm going crazy. YouTube. Like us on YouTube. Subscribe to YouTube. Hit the bell. Know when we're on. Look at the table back there. Pull up a chair. Seriously, subscribe to the YouTube page. We have so much fun doing this. Subscribe to Turnbuckle. They are having a lot of fun out there on Twitter. We got a lot of fun stuff coming on. I'm trying to get through this. Stop laughing at me. Right. Also, shout out to Body Slam. We were just there. Shout out to them. Give them a follow. And then the Scrap News. Fun stuff going on at the Scrap. If you just want to sit down and read about some wrestling, that's the best place to do it right now. So check out the Scrap as well. But without further ado, Mr. Cincinnati, you're tired of hearing me talk. So why don't you start talking?
Yeah, because you need to take several deep breaths. So I'll take it over from here. Joining us tonight is somebody that we have wanted to have on the show for years. I mean, probably since the beginning of this show. And when people talk about independent wrestling over the last several years, you can't have that conversation without mentioning EFFY. I mean, he's a former GCW world champion, creator of EFFY's Big Gate Brunch, host of Weekend at EFFY's. He's an entrepreneur, a promoter, one of the most recognizable personalities anywhere in wrestling. He's built one of the stronger brands in the entire industry just by betting on himself and staying unapologetically authentic. This weekend is another huge one for him. So tomorrow night, he'll be facing Fred Rosser at Produce Volume 2 before heading to Chattanooga for Scenic City Invitational, where he'll meet Kelsey Reagan in the opening round of one of wrestling's premier tournaments. Tonight, we'll preview SCI. We'll talk about Produce, discuss the business of independent wrestling, building a brand outside of major promotions, and whatever else happens when one of wrestling's most unpredictable personalities gets behind a live mic. So everybody pull up a seat and please welcome EFFY to the Wrestling Junkies Podcast. EFFY, welcome to the table. How are you, my friend?
Hi, I'm fantastic. What an introduction. Thank you. This is phenomenal. I usually have been hesitating on doing podcasts, and it's mostly because of kind of what you said, where like, I will just say anything because I get a comfort level and I like speaking in public and I'm very opinionated. And I fortunately have been able to do that for like a very long time now. And it hasn't gotten boring for people yet. So we're going to keep being wild. I feel like the best things are ahead.
Yeah, no. And thank you again for joining us on probably one of your busiest weeks of the year.
Yeah.
How are you feeling heading into this weekend?
Brother, okay. I usually am like, I'm usually Mr. like, oh, thank you. I love it. But I've been cocky lately, and I think I'm allowed to be. This is it's a very busy weekend. Yeah. Y'all, every fucking weekend of my life is the busiest fucking weekend. I mean, this weekend alone, I'm pumped because I actually, I'm going to go tomorrow to New Jersey. I'm going to come back through Atlanta, and then I'm going to head up to Chattanooga for SCI. So I get to end Saturday night with like only a 2-hour drive back to my, home, my actual home with my dog and my friends and my, everything you want. So really, I'm enjoying the fact that this weekend I kind of get to be a little Southern, which is like where I started. And with SCI, especially, I've been wrestling for 13 years. I've never done SCI. I started in Florida. I wrestled in Georgia and Tennessee and North Carolina and South Carolina and Alabama and Mississippi and pick a state. I've wrestled there. To be now invited into the SCI at this point in my career, it's kind of crazy because I think even a few years ago, even with the success, even being on a global stage and not really looking at the biggest picture of what I was doing and really taking the step back, I probably would have had hesitation of, am I going to come up against somebody whose wrestling skill doesn't match mine? Am I in over my head in a wrestling tournament? And then I went, no, I once again am awesome. And I'm going to come into this tournament and be EFFY because being EFFY is what has gotten me to this point. Being EFFY is why, I'm the longest, most defending GCW champion that's ever been. Being Effy is why I have, Big Gay Brunch. I did an interview last night, and I'm running my mouth right now. This is fine. Let me go.
Welcome it.
Where Soraya Saber was like, "Oh, my dream would be to wrestle people like you and Dark Sheik and Giselle Shaw." And I said, "Oh, like to be someone who has done this as long as I've done it, has continued to grow and expand, not only the way and the things I'm doing, but also kind of just the direction of who I'm able to get to." It's this crazy thing where at no point has listening to someone helped me in any way. At no point has piping down. I think about my grandpa, and he was a pastor, but he was saying, this little light of mine. And let me tell you, girl, I'm letting that thing shine. I'm not playing anymore. I got too many people looking at me, wishing I would die or fall off because they wish they could take the spot. But even if they had the spot, it would eat them alive. They'd be dead in 3 weeks if they woke up as Effy.
Remember pre-show when he was like, "Man, I've talked a lot. I don't think I'm going to talk a lot."
Oh, silly old me. Yeah, I'm a talker.
No, that's funny.
So I know we have a lot to cover here, but again, you're somebody that we want to talk to for just ages now. So we're just gonna go back in the Wayback Machine a little bit. Tell us about some of your just earliest memories of pro wrestling in general.
My dad was a big pro wrestling fan, but was very much of the ilk of like Southern, Jim Crockett, NWA, Smoky Mountain if Rock and Roll Express was there kind of thing. And he never filled me in that it was like fake, but I can remember, early on getting the chance to like go to a SmackDown when I was like 12, and I think I went to a Raw as well when I was 13 or 14, and being in that environment where you're like, oh, I like, there's this idea that if you're a wrestling fan, it's a silly thing, but there's nothing that really like energetically draws people in like wrestling. And I think even as a kid, it sounds big brain to say it now, but like seeing how excited people were to go to and be a part of and yell and scream and be able to manipulate, the world that you're in. It's this kind of addicting thing, like even just as a fan to go into, because it's like there's no one could tell you exactly what's going to happen on any night of the week. And I think that lends itself to like a real openness to like how you can approach it. And so I don't know. I think I gave myself freedom in wrestling pretty early to do whatever I wanted, because what I liked about what I saw early in wrestling were either old dudes being really mean to each other, beating the shit out of each other, and it maybe was a little sloppy or a little more like a real fight or a little more deliberate, versus getting to just go to wrestling shows and going, wait a second, they're doing whatever they want, they're feeling the crowd, they're just staring at, they're telling us not to say things, and it's like this completely malleable thing that I think even from an early age I was like, oh, this is like different than going to a concert, or different than being in front of a play audience, or different than seeing a band. Like it's its own thing entirely. And although it's in the same building as a lot of other events, there's nothing like the way that thing is when you've got a rowdy crowd, especially.
So you talk about, being Effy, and that's how you got to where you are now. Can you pinpoint a moment where it was, okay, being Effy is working and I can do this. This is going to be my living moving forward?
Yeah, I think like before even it became a thing of like it being my job entirely, it really excited me that like I was getting to work a job, but then have this escape on the weekends where I was disappearing into this character that nobody, in that world really knew about, and kind of seeing that like, okay, not only is this a thing that like is an expression that's very good for me, people are genuinely attracted to me and want like as a performer and want to see me perform and want to be in the building with me, to the point where it's like I felt like I was letting people down if I wasn't taking as many bookings as I could, even though it was like do 3 shows, get home, work at 7 a.m., work all week, even sometimes do a show Friday night, drive back to Atlanta, wake up Saturday morning and wrestle, and open the store and get trucks out running a moving company, and then go that night and wrestle somewhere else. So it was like, it kind of had to start making money for me to still want to do it and want to need it. But it also was the idea of like, this thing I'm doing might be more important than the other jobs I'm doing. And I really don't like firing people. And I especially don't like hiring people. And so like, there was the drive to force it to kind of work even more, and sort of the fans and the direction that they give you. I think it excites you. You don't want to miss out on opportunities. If people want to see you be a part of something and you miss out on that, or you say, well, I have, these things in my life that are work, or these things in my life that are real life things, you miss the chance to go in 100%. And it was like kind of seeing, how successful I would be on a weekend, and then coming back to a job that I was doing really well. It was like, I don't want to keep coming back to the job. And I don't know how this looks. And I don't get along with a lot of the people in the bigger positions in wrestling. We differ our thoughts on a lot of things, but when I have done things my way with the safety net of having a job, and when I've done things effy and outrageous and a little crazy, it's worked. So as I increased that amount of wrestling that was in my life, it was also like, hey, let's see how far you can get without ever having to take directions. And here we are tonight in 2026.
Yeah. Say, I think it's worked.
Yeah. Sorry, I just got a crazy text message.
No, you're good. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, and kind of along those lines, I mean, one of the things we've always admired about you is that you don't, and along the same lines, you don't wait for people to create opportunities for you. I mean, you promote shows, you have the clothing brand, you have the podcast, you build these things yourself. Was there ever a moment when you realized, if I want this as a career, I have to be more than just a wrestler and figure out everything else that you have amassed today?
Yeah, and that part I think is what I kind of warn a lot of people about, where it's like, oh, I want to be like Effy, I want to travel like Effy, I want to make this my full-time job. And I tell a lot of people, I'm like, look, if you have a decent job, or have a job that's giving you hours, or have a job that's able to put money in your pocket that can go to merch, that can go to losing a little bit on trying a booking out that maybe you need to just go show face in front of and get in front of and go help out on a show. It's something where, like, I would say overexert yourself in those early years to have that safety net, because there are times where it's like, if something happens, like I had a knee injury throughout most of the fall and into the spring. Mm-hmm. And I had to wrestle, and I had a lot of things going on, but I was like, it makes more sense if I just keep wrestling rather than take 3 months off. They're like, if you take 3 months off, your knee will be perfect. And I was like, I'm not going to take 3 months off for a partially torn quad. I'm going to take 3 months off for a broken leg or something like that. And so finding the kind of in between of, okay, I can only take so many wrestling bookings while my knee is like this. There was a period where I'm taking 1 or 2 a weekend, and I'm going, this is as the limit of what I can do. You kind of have to find these other kind of sources and ideas. And that part of it is what becomes the work, keeping up with online orders, keeping up with shipping, keeping up with prices on things, dealing with the Trump tariffs, which was just like terrible for producing merch. If people want to know why there haven't been more wrestling is gay fans that I see on TV every week, for people that still have them, the fact that they get on TV and I can't sell them at the moment because the Trump tariffs were going to charge me $5,000 higher than what I had originally paid for the runs of fans that I'd done in the past. And now that those tariffs are kind of out the window, we're able to open those doors again. But it's like these things affecting regular American economy are affecting performers and entertainment and the arts at such a higher degree. And when we have to participate in the same world, like being Effy for me is the like, let it loose, have fun. Like when you see me in the ring as Effy, that is the most free man I can tell you in the world. But it's everything else that you have to go, I'm willing to take on the responsibility of all of these other things that come with this, just to continue getting the thrill of getting to wrestle and enjoy the art form and create, more from that, where like the wrestling pays a lot of my income. I'm doing extremely well as far as like what I can ask for a booking in what I think is fair. But it's dumb of me to not say, these people who are going to see me 20 minutes a week at a show, if they want to participate and find more content with me and follow me in different ways and do other things with me, that portion of it is going to be what helps keep your life afloat. And it can be a little difficult for people to understand the like on-off ability of it. And you've got to have the right people around you to go like, hey, you're being a crazy person, or, hey, you got to slow down or you're not going to be able to handle yourself. It's a balance.
Yeah, and you talk about how much of a business this actually is, right? It's not just bumps and bruises in the ring; it's everything else that goes into that. And this week you are presenting in a seminar. What does an EFFY seminar look like, and how does it differ from any other seminar you can go to?
Number one, it is no bump, no in-ring. Do not put your gear on. I need y'all to sit. I need y'all to listen. I need you to take the notes you want to take, and I will send you a PDF of the notes at the end. My seminar has changed so much every time, and it sometimes I think for people can be overwhelming because it is me almost frantically trying to get you as much information as I can. And sometimes that information can be kind of hypocritical and kind of play both sides, as far as making sure your product is presented in an absolutely professional manner, making sure you are safe to standard on the way you're performing, that your moves are done in a clean and safe manner, while also making sure that you keep the wildness and the freedom and the excitement to play around and involve in the ring in wrestling. Because I think, having a plan and having strong fundamentals is absolutely necessary to be a clearly understood wrestler. But then if you ever lose that spark of we can do whatever we want out there, we're in charge of this. Our job as wrestlers is to take what we're given and make the most in that spot for the fans to react to, for the people to understand, for the excitement in the room to raise itself to. And there's a trillion ways to get there. And sometimes when you have a plan, being out there in the moment, you go, well, that's a better plan. Or that's not a plan that's going to work. And to counterbalance being an absolute pro when it comes to those things that are in the ring, when someone tells you, do you know how to do this? When someone asks you if you know how to post for a certain move, do you know how to take a move? Being completely trained and up to date and with everybody on a physical level, but also going, I can do anything I want. So the seminar sort of becomes this like kind of deep dive into what wrestling is, and what I hope helps people sort of, I don't want to say objectify themselves, but to become an object, in that our hearts are in this. Our love of wrestling is in this. Wrestling sometimes will take advantage of you because you love it. Wrestling will sometimes take you on a drag ride as a fan and as a wrestler. And so learning to kind of be able to approach this thing as something we love and art we love, but also being able to compartmentalize a little bit what the audience is looking for, what you are creating as a product, and what is understandable to people, making that mold of self that is true to you while still being able to be palated and understood by people. Because at the end of the day, we want people to want to see you. We want people to be excited about you. Whatever your product is, it's not going to look like EFFY. Whatever it may be, let's find a way to where you never say that, well, the fans they don't know what they're talking about. And instead find a way where the fans go, we had never been given that, presented that way. And the way you gave it to us made it understandable in a way that even though it's different, or even though it's not to the normal, the fans can get behind it, and the fans can find what the, true motivation of your character is in a way that's, bigger than here's how you do a wrist lock. Here's how you do a good headlock takeover. Here's why your bumps suck. Here's why your moves suck. And those things are important. But what you can learn from me is sort of, we're manipulating a room. We're manipulating time. We're creating a story in a moment with a lot of things. And I want your character to be something that can survive in a wrestling focused world, but can also, satiate your love of wrestling in a way that is both objective and personal. I don't know. You see, I'm talking here. Yeah. You should see the notes on this thing. It's kind of crazy. I think when people leave it sometimes, I did an earlier seminar at Seth Rollins' school at Black and Brave. Mm-hmm. And Merrick Brave, who is his partner up there, and shout out Manders, who's gone there. Black and Brave has put out a ton of crazy, incredible wrestlers. Their school is bar none. And if you're going to go somewhere in the U.S., it's one of the schools you want to look at. Obviously, Seth Rollins, look at the material. You can say whatever you want about the Seth freaking Rollins character. The man has been a mainstay on your TVs and in your house for years and years and years, and he is passing that on. But I did a seminar there, and me and Seth, I don't think we've always seen eye to eye. I think we've had things we disagree on. And obviously, Seth is a bigger name than me. I lose the argument a little bit. But he allowed me to come do a seminar there before I got to wrestle Manders at a show in Iowa. And at the end, they had the show the next day. And Merrick had told me, Rollins messaged me about your seminar. And I don't know if he was asking, how he was asking it. But I told him, I said, listen, it was kind of ascending in mindfulness. And it was I I feel like I learned a bunch of stuff that I wouldn't have known. He was like, "Are you serious?" He was like, "Yeah, I learned a ton of stuff." And then Merrick Brave ended up doing a run-in during me and Mander's match, and everyone there was like, "He must really like you because he never does run-ins or he never wants to participate in the show. He never wants to be a kayfabe character." And I was like, not only did he give praise to the big man who let me come in and do the seminar, he also like was so into the way I was presenting and thinking about wrestling that he was like, I want to be in the ring with him. I want to get a moment with him, even though he's technically retired. An EFFY seminar is like nothing else. I assure you of that. And my anxiety to make sure you feel like you got your money's worth is so high. I've been to bad seminars, y'all. There's an epidemic of bad seminars in wrestling. And I think some of the younger generation that are coming up are nervous to do seminars, are nervous to start training because they think, what do I have to teach? What do I have to tell people?
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, every time I've gotten in a room with wrestlers that care and want to learn, I'm learning stuff as well. I want to learn from these people. You know, Jonathan Gresham is doing the Modern Age Grappling seminar here in Atlanta. He's been training up at Nightmare Factory, and he's got Bankston. He's got Adam Priest. Who else has he got? He's got Fancy Ryan Clancy, who's been making huge Northeast waves. But then I also have heard some things about who he's bringing in that even he himself can learn from, and that the kids can get an even greater education from that like aren't even announced. He's just like, I want to do it because it's important. And like to have guys like that in the scene, I hope that people take the seminars and take the responsibility of like being given a seminar, asked to do a seminar, have people want to have that seriously and try to present, you know, good stuff. I start with kind of telling people, listen, I don't want you to be EFFY, but I want you to use all of EFFY shortcuts to skip a lot of the, you know, dumb dead ends that you run into where you're like, what am I even doing here? You know, where we have those moments in our wrestling career where we're like, what is this?
Yeah.
What is happening? And it's like, I want to be able to go, look, I don't think you should rush to the end, but I also think you should not have to have everything be horrible for you the whole time. If we can teach you things, and it makes everybody's job easier, because at the end of the day, no one's ever just going to see EFFY. I'm in a match. I have another person with me. If we all want to learn and get better at this job and do this to the highest degree with each other, then we're going to have better matches. We're going to have better shows, and the fans are going to get more stuff. So I don't know. I always keep learning, and I urge people to come learn with me, and I think that they will. I think they're going to enjoy themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially with this particular weekend, the last few years that we've gone, they've had some incredible seminars there, and our friend, the good Dr. Landon Hale, who loves you and says hello, has attended those, throughout the weekend, and outside looking in, and correct me if I'm wrong, it feels like, when you look at the difference between like a good, a great, and spectacular seminar is, the willingness of the host to admit that they don't know what they don't know and wanting to absorb that knowledge from other people. And that's what helps everybody else. And those rising tides, bringing up all ships. So that'd be fair to say.
Yeah, 100%. Like there's just no way in hell I'm going to be able to teach you any style of chain wrestling that comes close to something that a Gresham could teach you. But there are 100 things that Gresham would come to me about and say, I want to learn this. I want to, how are you doing this? Like, how are you approaching this match just from a structural point of view? And it's really exciting to be in locker rooms with these guys. We're like we had a locker room the other day for Pro Wrestling Junkie. Shout out Pro Wrestling Junkie. They had Eddie Kingston in there. They had Ortiz in there. They had Gresham in there. They had Tracy Williams in there. And just seeing how open they were to talk to all the young members of the locker room, to watch their matches, to see what's going on. It just it fired me up so much, because it's like, I've been in this a long time, and I still feel like I'm constantly learning new things and trying new things and wanting to keep discovering more in wrestling. And to see these guys that are like masters of the scene that have been all over the world come in and go, I watched your match, you're only a year or two in, and here's some things I would do. Or seeing Eddie Kingston work at First Wrestling, None More Violent has been teaming up there. Jen Hallows and my boy Cho. They are a crazy visual team. They're a very strong style, very hardcore, almost goth style team. But Eddie Kingston has come in and been working with, one of the Uptown champions, Jordan, there. And I got to see some of their matches, and it's just it's really crazy to see Eddie Kingston go all the way in with these young cats. But Eddie was a guy who, when I was still a few years, 5-6 years in, let me go over on him in a match, because he said, oh, the young guys need to go over. The young guys need their moment. And seeing this, where I'm in a position now where I can do that too, and he's still out here doing it. It's we're not going anywhere. wrestling's going to continue. Whether WWE shits the bed and TKO runs them out, whatever happens with any other companies, wrestling will continue. And as long as we want to wrestle and people want to see it, the company names may change, the people in charge may change, but people who are about wrestling are going to make sure and police the goodness of wrestling continuing.
Man, Eddie Kingston, we're going to miss him when he's gone. Sorry, Chris.
Yeah, no, we will.
I think we haven't seen the best of Eddie Kingston, man. I think about Dusty Rhodes coming in and working Steve Carino, and what was that, 1999, 2000 or something? And Dusty's already old as hell there, and he kept coaching for 20-something years. I can't wait to see Eddie Kingston as an old fucking man wrestling at a convention with EFFY, and we're going hard as hell in there, and we're 65 years old. I would like to see that.
Yeah, no, sign me up, right? You talked about, and I like this term you use, the goodness of wrestling. Have you seen in your years, and now you've been in it for a while, is that more prevalent now than ever, or are we just now seeing it due to we can see everything now through our phones? Has it always been this way, or is it gotten better?
I had a conversation. This is going to sound like I'm just name dropping this whole time, but it's just because all my cool friends are famous now. I had a conversation around the time of speaking out with Ethan Page, and obviously doing pretty well for himself right now. But he was like, look, are we pieces of shit for even staying around wrestling? Like, it just feels like every fifth person I meet is an actual piece of shit. Number one, I don't blame the fans for not wanting to be around pieces of shit. And number two, like, are we pieces of shit for keeping wrestling and creating a space where like this happens? And I was like, no, dude, we have to and we kind of both agreed on this of like, we have to stay here and go, no, we are good, decent people who really like what wrestling can be. And I'm also, for as much of an adult star as I am, there's a lot of wrestling shows that I do that are for kids, that EFFY is completely PG, and EFFY is not, being the EFFY will be sometimes. And those moments of like being in a space where you go, we're providing something really fun for people. They shouldn't have to get an EFFY tattoo and then find out years later, oh, he was a piece of shit. These people should be allowed to have fans or be fans of us in a way that is like not going to end up shitting on their head and shitting on their face and making them look stupid. I think that we have to find the people in wrestling and be honest with each other and look around and ask questions and figure out, who's in this for the real deal and who's just here because it makes them feel cool or makes them look cool. Who's here because they want to hook up with fans, who's here because they want to, it's like, if we can give them the show, we can have all the fun, we can have all the party, we can have all the good times, but we also have to look around and go, I would much rather you be kind of bad at wrestling, but a genuinely good person who people want to see win and put and booked into certain positions than you be so good at wrestling that we somehow excuse your human crimes. I've never met anyone who was good enough at wrestling to excuse them being a shitty person. Heel and babyface alike.
Well, son.
Great answer.
I think you're up, bud. Do you have that one or?
Yeah, but I can ask another one. Hell,
okay, go ahead. Yeah.
If you want to skip your turn, that's fine. Let's talk about SCI. What again? You've been on the Indies for a while. What does this tournament mean to the independent scene, and why is it so important now? This weekend, it feels huge every year, and it's just getting bigger and bigger.
It's really crazy to me because I think one of the things that's made the SCI such a destination and such a big deal for independence is the way the fans have completely created an energy around it that's very unique. And I say that in saying that, when I wasn't booked in SCI, you would see people getting excited for SCI very early. You would see people really looking forward to it. And you would also see this sense of community inside the wrestling of not only are we going to have this sick wrestling tournament, we're also going to go crazy and hang out and see people and get 3 full days of wrestling. And, you want to be there when you see the way people talk about it. And it becomes this sort of platform, for things. I look at Manders, who won it a few years ago, and it really even if the award itself, if you said, oh, well, awards don't mean anything, whatever it did in his brain, you look at a pre-SCI Manders and a now Manders, it's a different guy, and that's a different human. And I constantly have the worry I have is that I will get bored of myself. And I have not yet, and that's wonderful if you're a fan of me. And so this is like, I feel like I'm putting myself into the great Southern test of my career as a wrestler. I think people look at EFFY sometimes and they don't see wrestler, and I think they're wrong. What I am is completely unpredictable, but my repertoire goes deep. I mean, I've wrestled the greats from Minoru Suzuki to Pimpinella Escarlata to Nick Gage to Cardona, to Chelsea Green. I mean, like if you look down the list of who I've been in a wrestling ring with, I beat Psycho Clown, for fuck's sake. WWE AAA star Psycho Clown was defeated by EFFY, and I took his mask off in a sign of disrespect, and I never got my rematch. I faced Jeff Jarrett, for God's sakes, and got him a job at WWE handling house shows, and then he saw me over across the street in Atlantic City at the Showboat Casino, and he said, well, I've got to get back in the ring, and he ended up at AEW. The same man who told me he couldn't bump very well anymore was then jumping off the ladder with Mark Briscoe and saying, well, the reason I can't give you a rematch is I'm not getting pay-per-view points. And I know we all just got the sob story on Jeff Jarrett from the Dark Side of the Ring, where he's like, TNA was my baby. We had little people with guns. It was magic. We care about wrestling. Dixie ruined it. But I'm saying, I think it's really easy to say, oh, the money isn't right for me to return and fight you. Blame the people and blame the money, rather than coming and getting your clout re-up, old man.
Yeah. So what did you think of Dark Side of the Ring?
I was like, I'm not sure how to respond to that.
I've never been scared of whoever's across the ring for me. I mean, SCI, this is what's so interesting too. Side note, they're doing a women's and a men's futures this year.
They are, first time ever.
Future show this year. Really cool. I'm very excited to be at that show before I win the SCI that night. But night one, I'm facing Kelsey Reagan. And you look at, like, I kind of want to look at the up-down on this SCI, because you have Tyler Stevens, The Wall. You have James Alexander. Am I saying his name right?
Joseph Alexander. Yeah.
Oh my God, he's gonna kill me. Oh, I'm gonna get killed. I don't have to fight him. You got Shimbashi and Danny Orion coming in. You've got Kelsey Reagan. Is Kenzie Page in this thing?
Yes.
She is. Yes.
Jesus.
Tyler Franks. Yeah. Anakin Murphy.
Anakin
Murphy. Big Dave. Hold up, I'm trying to pull this.
Yeah. I'm telling you, this
Isaiah Broner's also in this tournament.
Yeah.
Dmitry Alexandrov.
This is crazy. I've faced Kelsey Reagan before, but only in a tag match. And I recently defeated Billy Starks at Freelance Wrestling. I recently was defeated by Izzy Moreno at Freelance Wrestling. And I'm just mentioning, like, the women I have fought recently, there's no predicting, no matter how strong I feel, no matter how agile I feel, what happens when I'm in the ring, because these girls are thinking on a different level than men. I don't know if you've met men. Sometimes we're simple creatures, right? And sometimes, like, I love it, big meaty men slapping meat. But my ex-partner used to say, I only like watching the women wrestler because they actually understand drama and they understand risk and they understand how to actually beat people up without dying. The men always want to die when they beat people up. The women just want to beat your ass. And I was like, damn, you kind of have a point. And so Kelsey Reagan has been, like, on the scene for more than people give her credit for, has been all over the Southeast. And, like, I think she needs that moment. She needs that big spot. And I feel terrible that I'm going to beat the shit out of her, but I also I'm not overlooking her. I have found myself getting, rolled up and chewed out. And I mean, who knows, what if Kelsey Reagan makes EFFY tap? What does that even look like? It's a crazy thing to think about, but I have to go into it with just the same thing. I'm a mindfulness person, and all that means is every situation I go into, every person I talk to, every door I walk into, it's a reset. And I don't hold on to whatever was holding on to. So I've got Fred Rosser the night before. So,
let's talk about that.
The gay man who came out to hopefully keep a job, but he's not gay when he's on TV. He's just gay when he's in real life, versus the actual, and pardon my French here, folks, I've really had fun with this word lately. I know it makes some of you uncomfortable, versus the faggot who did whatever he wanted and got everything he dreamed of. Let it not be forgotten, Fred Rosser is a former employee of EFFY. Fred Rosser was at Big Gay Brunch 7 in Los Angeles, 6, 7, had to be 7. Maybe it was 6. either way, one of the big gay brunches, one of the many, many, many shows I've run to highlight queer talent, and one of the many matches I've had to have queer talent across from me. It's beautiful, but I don't care where you've been or what you've done when it's compared to what I'm doing, because you are safe now in the New Japan Dojo. You are safe now to train and be safe and have your handpicked opponents. I am out here every night. I don't even know what the ring's going to look like when I show up. I don't know what the opponent's going to be thinking when they show up. And I don't have anything to lose. So far, there is no situation that I've run into where I haven't, shown my ass a little and walked out clean on the other side. So do I hope Fred Rosser beats my ass? Am I talking a lot of shit in hopes that this is one of the hardest hitting matches of the year? Yeah. Am I fucking scared that my face is going to be fucked up Friday to fight Kelsey Reagan at the SCI? Yeah, I'm absolutely frightened, because when I'm in that ring with Fred Rosser one-on-one, and I got the Nuge folks watching, and I got Rocky Romero on the line, and I'm telling them Effy's going to win the Gay One Climax. The brand that you said was dead, the Bullet Club, you remember that? Well, now it's new and gay. And the new Gay Bullet Club, Effy, the leader of the new Gay Bullet Club, is going to win the Gay One Climax after defeating Fred Rosser at Produce tomorrow night in New Jersey at the White Eagle Hall. How's that for promotional material? We need heat on this shit. You think I won't walk up and smack that man in the mouth? I respect what he's done so far, but I know a self-serving queen when I see one. And honey, the girl's already knew in the bag. You just had to flick it out to TMZ to get one. And I think that's beautiful. I think you're an incredible athlete. I think I'm a shit talker who likes to stir the pot. And I also think we're going to have a crazy match that people have no idea how wild it's going to get. Produce is not the same company that people think it is. Produce is this whole mind fuck of a company that has red cards and yellow cards and specific rules. I mean, the commissioner of violence is Nick Gage, for God's sakes. He's there to make sure shit doesn't get out of his control of what he's setting standard on. But I'll tell you what, if Nick Gage sees two guys beating the shit out of each other, he's got nothing to say, but hell yeah, let him have at it.
Man, that's an interesting question. What is a Nick Gage standard?
Nick, okay, here's the thing. Did you guys ever read, I'm about to blow some minds here. Did you guys ever read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe or see the movie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's a scene where the little girl is like, Aslan, is he nice? And they're like, no, he's very dangerous, but he is good. And that's Nick Gage, right? Like, if you fuck on Aslan and you fuck on the people of Narnia, Aslan is going to beat that ass unstoppable until you are vanquished. But if you are kind and gentle and true and follow the rules set forth and stand by the stern lion, he will protect you till the end of time. Aslan is Nick Gage. It's Narnia. It's fun to see him in this role because he's been like doing training up at a school in New Jersey. I can't remember the name right now, but he's up in New Jersey. He's training a lot of people 3 nights a week, but he gets to come in here and be Nick Gage, the character, a little bit, where, he's on the mic and he's talking his shit and he doesn't have to worry about doing a death match and doing something crazy. Yeah. He came out and he had a sumo wrestler with him at the last show and threw the match out before Mance and Mad Dog could stab each other while I was on the side of the ring eating oranges. It's a crazy environment, and it's fun to see somebody trying something new like that at Produce and doing something different because the cards have been nuts anyway.
Yeah, and let's talk about that a little bit because they are, one of the newer promotions kind of on the town and Big Splash, everybody's got, promo codes so you can buy, bundles of events to enjoy on My AEW, I think. Tell us about kind of what you initially heard about Produce and the concept that came to mind and kind of how it's come to fruition, and talking a little bit more about that perception versus reality that fans may have.
Adam Abdullah, he's a lot of things. He's the head of Cultural Council in New York. He's a part of a lot of these venues on the boards, but he's also like a huge wrestling fan. He runs Orange Crush. He's he's published a few photography books. Recently, the one Nick Karp did of the GCW Japan tour, he was a publisher on that. He's worked with JCW some. He now he's like, I want to kind of do my own vision of what I think wrestling is. And he's also someone who, although he comes from outside the wrestling world, and although he has like a lot of things going on outside of that, he's coming into wrestling with sort of a chip on his shoulder to show wrestling the way he would want it to be shown. Where, like, I don't think he feels insulted as a fan. I mean, I've watched AEW with him. I've watched WWE with him. I've watched GCW with him. I've watched wrestling with this man a lot. He loves wrestling, but I think he sees kind of where, the scene is at and where things are at, and wanted to sort of create something that like kind of got the bigger ups, a little nervous and a little scared. And, the production has been crazy. I don't know if you guys are fans of Abel Ferrara, director of such films as Bad Lieutenant and I think Miss 45. He was recently in Marty Supreme as the guy with the dog, if you saw that movie. Not the guy in the house with the dog, but the guy who falls in the bathtub. He was performing live on this show, and it's like, how did this happen? Because Adam ran into him at a film festival and invited him and told him about this thing. And fast forward, Abel Ferrara performs at the show in a bunch of capacities with a band, and then he's in the audience with his phone out during Me and Mance versus Beastman and Mad Dog Connolly, filming on his personal phone because he's watching how cool this shit is. And I'm going, you could have never told me the director of the Harvey Keitel film, Bad Lieutenant, would be watching my match and filming it because it's guys beating the shit out of each other. And Adam is someone I think that understands that wrestling advertises to itself, and when you can bring people in from other art forms and from other walks of life and from other things and show them the best of wrestling, you can make them wrestling fans for life. And he's taking a big risk on a lot of this stuff, and he's really going out of his way to make a really great environment, especially for the wrestlers, but for the fans as well. I mean, the first show in Brooklyn was very sick, down by the harbor, cool stuff. And now to get this match on a Lee Moriarty produced show where like I think 4 or 5 of the matches are specifically booked by Lee Moriarty, including that main event, Lee Moriarty versus Jonathan Gresham. And to see this kind of platform being given to like just a wrestler who is in the arts and is in wrestling and is in AEW, but now gets to go like, here's what I think wrestling looks like. Here's the vision I have. And Adam gets to sort of make this environment happen for these people to show the best version of themselves and how they look at wrestling on his platform. It's fucking sick.
And it seems like an easy answer, and I don't want to, just have a yes or no or anything short like that. But why is it so important to take risks in wrestling?
But the core of wrestling is risk. This entire business is basically based on a bet that like they can know that we're pretending a little bit, and they can still be interested if we can make them give a fuck. They're walking in going like, we know, but also we're willing to see if you can make us give a fuck. And I assure you, fans have seen the match, right? Fans watch EFFY matches. Fans have seen other wrestlers wrestle. Fans have seen a lot of things. And for us to continue this business and keep fans interested and keep fans of wrestling that have been fans for years and years and years to come back and want more, we have to keep trying new things. And, sometimes those things don't go the way you think or plan, but like, there's also been these moments of like things that have gotten more interest on the internet than I expected, just because we were trying weird stuff or we were going for something that seemed outside of the box. And like, for whatever people say about whatever, viral clips come out or whatever you see of EFFY, anything where they're talking about me or anything where they're able to be drawn back to what I'm doing, that's a win for me. And when we take these risks and go, look, this could be stupid as fuck, or this could not work. I can think specifically of something I tried the other day. It did not work the way I wanted it to work, but I wasn't mad. I tried it. And then I had an idea for the next time to go, oh, that's what I wasn't thinking of, or that's what I wasn't doing. Right. And I love how forgiving an audience could be. I mean, it sucks to have somebody chant "you fucked up" at you, but the fact is 5 seconds later, wrestling fans have forgiven that you fucked up completely and are locked back into the match. I think like it wouldn't exist without risk. I don't know how better to put that.
Do you think that's advice that you would give to any independent wrestler coming up, is like take a risk, and like you just said, fans are going to forget it in 5 minutes, but they saw that you did it and they saw that you were willing to put yourself out there like that.
Yeah, I think trying to tell the young kids, like, the more you get in the ring, the more you're going to forgive yourself. The more matches you have, the more you're going to forgive yourself. Now, obviously, when you book EFFY and when I come to your town and when I am having my match, I am dead serious about making sure it's as good as I can make it be. But I also am very forgiving if something doesn't work or something doesn't happen. The concept itself of I just met this person that day a lot of the times, and we're going to make up a fight with each other and perform it in 2 hours. And we're mad because something didn't go exactly right, or we're mad because, oh, this didn't hold right. It's like having the forgiveness to go for those things and say, I think we can do it, and give it your best shot. Most of the time, if you're going for it all the way, I have found it will work out at least decently enough. And, I'm not telling kids to take risks for their life, but I also, one thing I really try to, remind young wrestlers of is like, yes, you may only be a few matches in, or even if you're a lot of matches in, people hit a slump and you go, you've done this before. You've been in the ring. And when you get in there, if it's not working, you have the communication and the prowess to be able to change what you're doing, or shift, or notice something that was maybe a mistake that time, but could be worked into something better. And it's forgiveness, I think. I mean, 100%. It has to be a forgiving art. The Rolling Stones are great, but they've known exactly what songs they're going to play in the set for weeks. They are not surprised by anything when they walk on stage. They are performing the same set they performed last night, and it's wonderful. But in wrestling, I have never been in the same match. I have never been in the same fight. I have never had a match that sounded exactly like I planned it, or ended up exactly like I planned it. And that's the beautiful thing is, we can do all kinds of preparing ahead, and we can train, and we can watch matches and study, and we can study ourselves. But at the end of the day, you just do it, right? And when you get comfortable doing it after fucking up enough and succeeding enough and doing enough, it really becomes a very cool thing. The feeling of just being in the groove.
Yeah, and especially, kind of in 2026 right now, for whatever thoughts people may have about WWE or AEW, current state of the mainstream product, we're very vocal on our shows about support independent wrestling. I mean, and Shug D said this on a show a couple of weeks ago that, think of independent wrestling as kind of that infrastructure that holds up all the skyscrapers that you see walking down the street. That underground buzz is so important to the industry as a whole. And, especially in this day and age when it's more accessible than it ever has been before, where people can sign up for a streaming service and, see an EFFY match, whether it's Triller to catch GCW or Produce. It's what would you say to people that may still be on the fence about, crossing over from enjoying a mainstream product to finding something else a little bit more local to them?
I think, listen, I've almost there was a comment from AEW that I think it really rubbed me the wrong way, where they were sort of saying, well, we're not trying to grow the fan base. We're trying to satiate the fans we have, or satiate the wrestling fans we have. And I don't want to keep sharing fan bases. And what I have found is when we can describe wrestling to people in a way that they get it and they want to see it, the biggest growth that I'm seeing are in markets of people that are not attached to mainstream wrestling already. They are not attached to a weekly programming schedule. They're not attached to needing to see pay-per-views or certain stars. And they are coming to these shows or viewing these shows and going, this is a whole world I didn't know about. This is a whole thing I didn't know about. And in today's society, where if I open my phone right now, I'm going to see 30 advertisements in under a minute easily. Yeah. And I'm probably underscoping that. When you get the word from other real people, especially people that freelance wrestling is a great example of this, where they sell out every show, and it's because there's such a talk and walk about the area of Chicago they're in, of regular people going, yo, this is so sick. It's $30. Beers are $4. We can watch people fight all night. It's crazy. They got wild stuff, and we're done by 10:30, and we can go out for the rest of our night. And it's these fans are locked in to freelance, and they know what's going on at freelance. And there are plenty of wrestling fans there that watch other things, but to ignore the people that are just around us, that haven't, maybe they know of wrestling and they just have a bad taste in their mouth. And you can go, no. This one has cheap beer and intergender and queer people and people that look like us and people that are like us. And not having to go to an arena for a show and not having to make a whole parking scene and, $20 hot dog to go and enjoy yourself. These things are going to become more rare and more rare as we move forward in society. And I think indie wrestling is going to keep providing, whether they're big fans of wrestling or not, people are going to want to come in, and they are going to want to be a part of humans coming together and being excited about something that's right there. When you end up in the crowd and somebody's I've never been to a wrestling show, and they're seeing you in the crowd the first time, there's such a chaos energy about doing that there's nothing like it.
Yeah, and I'll just as an aside here, we saw you. It was Indie Royal Rumble weekend of 25. It was the first GCW show for my boyfriend, and he again had never really seen independent wrestling and wasn't sure what to expect. He knew that we were excited to see you, and Goodbye Yellow Brick Road hit, and he was just like, oh really now? Why didn't you tell me about this? Like. It was just like, yeah, it's all part of the presentation. I mean, it works.
It's also slow enough for me to just come in, but it's a song about going, hey, this is for me, and if you like it, great, and if you don't, go fuck yourself. And if you're asking me to be a part of your thing, I'm in control of it, and I'll go back to my farm on this yellow brick road. I'm done with the yellow brick road. I'm going home, and so I like to keep that in my mind of like I always have the choice of leaving. But every time I walk into the room, they're so excited to see me that I could never leave. It is magic to have like a slow ballad Elton John song, be iconically tied to you.
It's a power move.
Shout out to all the fans who keep buying me sick Elton John vinyls. Keep it coming. I have an incredible collection right now. Someone just got me the diamond vinyl edition.
All right.
Crazy. I don't know.
Wow. Yeah, no, and I love what you said too about having it be a different experience, right? My wife being with me, she saw me watching WWE and AEW, and then we took her to an indie show, and she's like, "Holy shit, what is this? I love this!" Right? Like now she's into this, and now she's going to join me for the 4 shows. I don't know if she's ready, but we're gonna make it happen.
We'll do some check-ins. We'll make sure she's okay.
Yeah,
we'll take her to the show on.
Oh. Fantastic.
Thursday, so I don't know how prepared she is for that one, but
that's going to be if she can survive Thursday. Honest to God, if she can survive that Thursday show, the Jameson Shook 0 point kill yourself challenge show. I just talked to Dr. Redacted on Weekend at EFFY's, and he was talking about being in that room with the explosions for No Holds Barred that was just in the same building, and he was like, yeah, they were telling us we should take it home because the whole building was consumed by smoke. And I was like, well, did you take it home? And he was like, well, hell no. That's not what the fans wanted. The fans wanted it to explode. So we kept it exploding.
Yeah, it's gonna be fascinating. You may or may not see me with her the next day. It just depends on how that one goes.
If she needs to take a show break, I don't blame her. I understand.
No, she's in this now. Like this is what we do. This is what we do. Independent wrestling has changed so much, throughout the last decade. Where do you think wrestlers are still leaving money on the table?
I don't want to sound too Cardona here, but obviously like merchandise, especially live show merchandise, which I know like it's harder now, especially with flights the way they are to carry around that much merch, but having something at your table, having something where if fans want to come talk to you and want to come spend time with you, most of the time they are happy to want to buy something, buy a little token, even if it's not a big thing. And so just having something there for people to take as a keepsake or a memorabilia piece. I see a lot of wrestlers where I'm like, I'm going to say this as politely as I can. Like you want to look hot in your 8x10. Like you don't want to be ugly in your 8x10, right? And these kids, I'm going, you're like attractive mid-20s people, and you don't have a picture of yourself out for people to buy, and then you're just going around talking to everybody. They would buy a picture of you, and they're like, "You really think so?" And then a few weeks later, they're like, "Yeah, I got pictures of myself," and I'm like, "Yeah, let people buy the picture of you. Let people take home a nice picture. Just put it out." I mean, the worst thing that's going to happen is no one buys anything, and I don't think that's what's going to happen. I also think that with social media, it can be so annoying and so much work and a lot of things. And it is a lot of upkeep to be as visible as EFFY is. And it's another thing that, Cardona kind of hammered into a lot of our brains of like, you've got to stay in the flow. You've got to stay going. If people aren't seeing you, you can't blame them for not thinking about you. There's so much in the world to think about. You have to keep putting things out. And when fans become fans of you, they've seen you wrestle for 10, 20 minutes at a show, maybe once a month, maybe, longer than that, maybe once a year. And the time in between, they would still spend time with you or want to see what you're up to or want to see what you're about. But there are people who I'm like, are you not getting your match footage or are you not able to see stuff? Because it's like, I see them in person and I see them wrestle and I go, you have something really special, but they don't want to take that extra time to learn how to edit on a phone or learn how to get somebody to hold a camera for them and just film their parts of the match. And even, just when you're backstage and there's that many people there, you're going to see people running around doing vlogs and doing things. Don't feel like you can't jump in on that hoopla. If someone comes up to you and says, hey, do you want to be on my vlog? They just as happily would be on your vlog. And I think people want to hear from what's going on behind the scenes. They want to know, like, what are these people like backstage? With Weekend at Effie's, that's what has been such a big change forever. This podcast was me and Pitar, who is a wonderful roommate and partner and business partner and a lot of things to me, dog wrangler. But having someone who understands we've got to get this out to the people. We've got to show people what we're doing. We've got to constantly be in front of people. You got to have people around you that want to build with you. And you've got to be able to take the risk to go like, all right, I'm going to try something weird. Like shout out Veda Scott. They have the coolest show.
Love her.
Where I'll be backstage and I see Veda over there with someone. They both got all their markers and they're doing the drawing challenge where Veda just talks to the person for 30 minutes while they both try to draw the same thing, the best of their ability. And then they reveal their pictures at the end. And it's like, we need more creative stuff like that. These people that are in wrestling are very interesting people. Getting to see people coming in that I already knew they were interesting people, but now I'm getting to interview them and show a whole new side. Next week, I have a 2-hour sit down with John Gresham, where we've known each other for forever and we've never sat down and talked that long. And we had dinner right after this too. And it was a really good way to connect with him. But I think people are going to be kind of blown away at just how fun of a casual conversation this is that we get to have. I just had Redacted on, and then someone like Soraya Saber, who Soraya was in Futures last year for SCI. Soraya's been on Big Gay Brunch. Soraya's coming back from injury. And I got to have her on the podcast yesterday. And these people don't remember everything about what they saw. They remember seeing you and enjoying the match and enjoying who you were, but we can give them more of that during the week and they're happy to take in that content. When I see content creators, influencers, and they're posting stuff, I'm going, wouldn't it be so much more interesting if they also had footage of them in a fight? It feels like they're only doing half the thing we're doing if we would just add to it. And I think you see a lot of guys who've had great success with, the social media kind of becoming like the Da Vinci twins. They should wrestle as little or as much as they want, because when they wrestle on shows, people come up to see them because they have such a massive internet following that they don't have to be wrestling every weekend, but they still would consider themselves wrestlers. And I think that's really awesome.
Well, brilliant answer. I mean, the number of things that we could ask you, and I mean, we could be here for hours.
I have to pack 20 orders from my whatnot before I pack my bags before my 7 a.m. flight. People are like, what do you do during the week when you're not doing shows? And I was like, you have no idea. I'm a full-time Effie. And the thing about being an Effie is sometimes, and I love being here with y'all, but sometimes I'm Effie at 9 o'clock. Sometimes I'm Effie at 7 o'clock. Yeah. Sometimes I'm Effie. I was Effie at 9 a.m. this morning, putting out a fire. And it's it's such a blessing to get to do what I love and get to continue to travel the world and wrestle. And I would have never, I don't want to say I would have never imagined it, but it is it is worth the hard work it takes to maintain this. And to the young wrestlers out there, if you're not ready to jump all the way in, that's okay. Wrestle at your speed and do it. But taking the risks and jumping all the way in, you're going to run across and become a person by way of experiences that you can't even imagine that you're going to enjoy.
Yeah. Good to know. Good to know. And we don't want to take up much more of your time. We know you've got busy night, busy week ahead. So I do have one final question here for you. And I'm curious to see how you would answer this. So if you lost everything tomorrow, so every booking, every championship, every social media account, but you've kept everything that you have learned about the wrestling industry, the business of wrestling, how long would it take you to build Effie back into one of the biggest names in independent wrestling?
Okay, are they still aware of Effie, or is this Effie gets Thanos?
Yes, Thanos. You still have the knowledge, so you do have to build it again from the ground up, but you still have everything you've learned.
Now, see, this is going to throw people off because you want me to give the cocky answer, but I'm going to tell you something about wrestling on my way out here. I have busted my ass for a long time. I have been presented opportunities that I have crushed. I am also confused all the time at how I've gotten to this place, because wrestling is finicky and wrestling makes no sense sometimes. And sometimes the people that are the most talented are not always pushed the right way, or someone gets opportunities because of weird reasons. And so I want to say 5 years, because who knows where things are going. I did an interview one time with a little girl, and Allie was like, be nice to her. And I was kind of. And then she said, who's your favorite wrestler? Or who's the best wrestler of all time? Is what this, I think she was 4 or 5, very young. And this mainly was so her dad would understand when you ask your child to interview wrestlers, some of them are crazy. I wanted to kind of give him a beat, but I said, no wrestler is good. People are adequate at wrestling, but every wrestler that's ever gotten over and rich has been a combination of consistency plus timing. Hulk Hogan wouldn't have gotten Hulk Hogan over in 2003 if he was just starting there. Stone Cold wouldn't have gotten over in 2019 if he was just starting there. Time and place are a thing. There are plenty of talents who have gotten lost, but time and place can also be predicted in a way that you can follow the wave of. And if you're looking around you, there's nothing wrong with going, my presentation can go in a direction that will get to more people if I can get through the filter of where we are at time and space and culture in this moment.
Brilliant.
Knock that one out of the park, Mr. Cincinnati.
You say that like I was trying to do a gotcha bullshit. That's not what it is.
No. But listen. I mean, on the other hand, if you can guarantee me 6 bookings, I say 3 weeks. He's a fucking legend.
There it is.
Listen, I don't bleed as much anymore, but I'm more than willing to if it's what it takes to get back up.
Love it.
But see how good my forehead's all healed now.
Yeah,
I still got a little bit. I'm I'm good. Shout out GC Dub, by the way. I'm on my summer vacation, and I just want to say to everybody, because there's been a lot of hoopla before I get out of here.
Yeah.
Where's Effie? Where's Effie? I did defeat Allie in the loser leaves GCW match. I'm sure she could run back in on a stallion with a mask if she wanted to. But look at the foundation of GCW right now. Yeah. Vipress, Anakin Murphy, Lil Sicko coming in. The card has been incredible. The stars are on the rise. People are showing out. I just saw that Jermaine Mayberry clip against Junie Underwood where he juked him out. And I'm like, Jermaine's needed that spot for a minute. The dude is incredible. Seeing these new kids come in and get over and connect and meet GCW standard is wonderful. Effie getting time to do a lot of things that I have not done. I've been at almost every GCW show for 6 years. I love it. I think it is foundational to where wrestling is going, and still to this day is the leader in going to the next level on things and presenting some of the coolest punk rock shit. And it's why I'm GCW forever, but also getting to give this space now to new heads to fill those spots and get those moments and show the fans what they're made of. It's only going to be even spicier when Effie decides to pull back up. I have a lot of things on my plate right now. I have a lot of things I'm getting into. I'm never too far on the horizon, but I got to say, I am loving the GCW products right now. When I was at the NWA taping, before I get out of here, I had the Tournament of Survival pulled up live from Atlantic City on Fight backstage at NWA, and at first it was just me watching. And somebody's like, what are you watching? And I tell you what, the whole roster and the producers, shout out Dr. Tom Pritchard, my producer for the night. He was even watching it. And when we saw Sicko go through the porcupine quill board, we lost it in that room. The locker room went electric. I love wrestling. I love GCW. I'm so pumped to see what they're doing. But this weekend, I got to beat Fred Rosser at Produce. I got to win the SCI. I got to teach these kids. If I do the seminar and don't win the SCI, I'm going to feel really stupid. But also, maybe that means I taught somebody at the seminar so well that they defeated me. Who knows?
It's a win-win. And let's, no spoilers, but GCW does come to Cincinnati on September 26th. So if you want to make your return then, I think 2 guys right here wouldn't be mad at that.
We're plotting. We're plotting. When you least expect me, I'll be there. Okay. I don't want people to forget.
Well, Effie, again, we can't express to you how grateful for you to come on, join us tonight. This is a dream interview, 3 years in the making. So, awesome. Without further ado, the final word is yours. If people are not following you and living under a fucking rock, where can they find you on social media? We know you've got Produce coming up. We know you've got SCI. But tell everybody else what your summer looks like.
So I'm going to be doing the NWA 78 show in Philadelphia. It is my 2300 arena debut. I missed the GCW show there. After Big Gay Brunch, I just needed a breather. And I think I'm going to become the number one contender to the championship there. I'm against Heath. I've got kids, amongst others. PB Smooth, I think, is in that match. Giant Man Talos, who's been on a Japan run for All Japan, I believe. It's what's his name? Kratos? Oh, that's going to air. The Kratos match is going to air soon on Tubi and Comet for NWA. And I got to tell y'all, this match fucks. I was in center stage. I was feeling it. When this boy figured out we're both strong bulls, it was go time. I'm pumped for people to see me versus Kratos. Let's get this thing going crazy. Look out for Effie. I've got all my dates always posted on Effie Lives. They're posted online. Follow the podcast, please. Weekend at Effie's. We're trying to increase our YouTube. It's very difficult on YouTube. They really suppress you for a while, but we've got interviews up with all sorts of people. Anybody you could really imagine. I mean, including Jackie from the Callous Cowboys, famous metalcore band that's been traveling the world with the Acacia Strain. So very cool people I know in my life, and I'm excited for people to get to hear more interviews that we're doing with Weekend at Effie's.
Love it. Well, thank you so much once again. We cannot wait to see you in action this weekend. Save us a new Gay Bullet Club t-shirt, preferably a large. We're going to have our merch money ready.
Let's go.
But thank you, Effie. Thank you to everybody that tuned in and joined us tonight. Again, you can find us on X, TikTok, and Buzzer at Junkies Pod. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram as well. But subscribe to the YouTube channel. We have plenty of room at this table. Pull up a seat. Effie did. Hung out. Had a phenomenal time. We want you to be part of the conversations as well. We will be back next Monday breaking down all of the chaos from SCI weekend. So tune in 7 p.m. Eastern. We've also got a number of incredible guests lined up for next week. So again, follow us on socials and you'll be able to see what we got going on. So thank you guys so much. Effie, stick around for just a little bit. But for Effie, that's the podcast ad. I am Mr. Cincinnati. This has been the Wrestling Junkies Podcast. And until next Monday, enjoy those grabs, guys.